Good morning, it's Lisa with Lisahealyourself, and today we are going to talk about the actual brain retraining process. So when it comes to chronic illness, there's many brain retraining programs out there, and I've done a number of them. I've done something called GAPTA retraining, ANS rewire retraining, DNRS retraining, and the lightning process. So they're all very similar. But one of the things, and without giving away, I don't know why everybody trademarks their programs and you're not allowed to share them, but I will share the general process of brain retraining because all of these are very similar and this is basically what you do. So to start out with, you know that you're either having a symptom or a thought, right? A sensation or a thought or an emotion, something that needs to be rewired. So this emotion keeps coming up over and over, or this thought keeps coming up over and over, or the fixation on our sensation comes up over and over. So when I like to think of brain retraining, I think of it mind, body, and soul. So you can brain retrain your emotions, you can brain retrain your thoughts, you can brain retrain your body, which is your sensations, and you can brain retrain at the soul level. So you can brain retrain at any level. So if it's a repetitive thought, I'm never gonna heal, I'm never gonna heal, you wanna retrain that thought, okay? Or, oh my God, I can't take this, whatever it is that is this running in your mind, that's what you want to retrain if it's a thought. So if we're talking about an emotion, maybe it's an emotion of sadness that keeps coming up, or an emotion of anger, or an emotion of something from the past. It's a memory even of an event that you went through, or something that has a lot of emotional charge to it. We can look to rewire those emotions. You could have environmental triggers, like if you're sensitive to smells or sounds, and these things come up, right? And it triggers a response. Then we want to rewire how we think about that. So if bright lights come up and your body does something, then we want to rewire our response to bright lights. Or if a certain smell comes up, those who are sensitive to smells comes up and our body immediately goes into, down this spiral. We want to rewire our response to the smell. So it could be a sensation itself. Maybe our brain is fixated on a sensation and all we can do is feel the sensation over and over and over. We want to rewire our brain's fixation on the sensation and open it up, be more broad, right? So there's a number of different ways that we can retrain the body, mind, heart, and soul, right? Emotions, thoughts, sensations, and like the inner power of ourselves, right? If we feel our power being lost from something, we can retrain that loss of power as a way to step back into our soul and regain power. So I hope this is making sense. There's a number of different things that you may need to retrain, right? But it works on thoughts, emotions, sensations, environmental, like outward triggers, and then your soul level, which is like whether you have your spirit, your power inside you, your personal power and your belief, those things. It's like these deep beliefs, right? Something that we need to rewire because it's working against us. Okay, so here's the general rule. And of course, when you're looking at all these different areas, it's very similar for all of them, okay? So the first thing is always to say stop. So it's in this awareness, you catch yourself responding to an outside stimulus or thinking the same thought over and over, or fixating on a sensation, or whatever it is, okay? Losing power to a certain person or situation. So it's this awareness, we catch ourselves. That is the number one thing. And that's why I say meditation, journaling, all these other practices are really good because we want to catch ourselves every time. It's in the catching that you have an opportunity to rewire. So you catch yourself, you notice it, and you say, okay, what is actually happening? Okay, stop. So some people do stop techniques really differently. They picture a big red stop sign. They may actually say stop out loud. It might be really aggressive, anything to try to like interrupt that pattern. Or it could be subtle. It could be very soft and loving, just like, stop, okay, stop. We're not doing this anymore. It's okay. So it doesn't matter how you stop that pattern. It's recognizing it and then saying, okay, we're going to change how we do this. Now, don't get frustrated if it doesn't work the first time, because brain retraining is about repetitive, right? Because you're doing something over and over and over. And now we want to break the associations with it, right? Neurons that fire together, wire together, and we're breaking associations. We're breaking patterns, really, because everything in your life is pattern. So it's about breaking a pattern. So a lot of people get really stressed out and worried because they think like, oh my God, I'm thinking this thought. Okay, stop. Okay, I'm still thinking the thought. I can't change thinking the thought. Or, oh my God, I'm fixated on a sensation. Okay, stop. Oh my God, this sensation's still there. I'm never going to be able to stop thinking of the sensation. So you have to get that out of your head right away, okay? It's not that the sensation's going to go away. It's that we're rewiring our reaction and our response to it. So the first thing is awareness. That's step one in any of the programs. Be aware, okay? Number two, just stop how you're responding and reacting and thinking about it. You're making a conscious effort to stop. So whether that's visual or auditory, whether you're saying it out loud, you're picturing all these things, you're doing some weird, crazy, clown sounds or whatever it is, you can do anything to stop it. Or whether it's just a breath and just a like softening, like stop, it's okay, right? Just like, okay, we're gonna do this differently. However you connect with stopping that process, it's about just making a shift, saying, stop, we're gonna do this differently now. And the reason you're doing it differently isn't because if you don't do it differently, you're never ever gonna heal. It's because you wanna recognize that you're having patterns, that you're doing things that aren't serving you, and that you're trying to make a conscious effort to change. So it's never about beating yourself up. It's about saying, okay, stop. I want to make a conscious effort to change this. I may not be able to. That's okay. I'm going to make a conscious effort here to react differently, to respond differently, to see this differently, to do something differently, right? To take a different action, whatever it is, to make a change, because I don't want to live like this anymore. So it's not beating yourself up if you can't do the process perfectly. And that's where I think people fall into problems with this. It's about being kind and loving to yourself. And you're doing this because you want to make a change, not because you have to, because you genuinely want to try to see things differently, to break patterns, and to make a change that's going to have a positive effect on your life. So the first thing is becoming aware. Second thing, stop. Okay. Now, what is the pattern? What is the problem? Think about this. Is it a mind, emotion, body, heart, soul? Okay. Is it coming from a thought, a repetitive thought? Is it coming from an emotion that's deep inside of you? Something from the past, something that you're feeling, something that you're not feeling? Is it coming, from a body sensation? Is your body overloaded with sensation? Okay, is that the problem? Or on a soul level, have you lost power in that situation? Have you lost confidence or belief in yourself? So is it a deep-rooted belief in yourself, right? Is it an emotion? Is it a sensation? Or is it a thought? And sometimes it can be more than one. Sometimes it can be many. Sometimes we get overwhelmed because it's all of them. But what is the main problem? What is capturing the most of your concentration right now? The most energy? Is it the sensation? Is it this fixation on a sensation? Or is it the overwhelming feeling coming up inside of you? Or is it the thoughts that won't stop? Or is it the fact that you really just don't believe in yourself? You have no power left, no confidence, nothing left. So which category does it belong in more? This is what I like to say. Once we figure out which category is in more, okay, could be a thought, or it could be a sensation. So we always try to bring those thoughts, sensations, power, we bring them back. We ask them, is there a deeper message? Is there a deeper emotion to this? Because a lot of things, sometimes thoughts that will pop up is actually a deeper emotion that needs to be felt, or sensation in the body is actually an emotion that needs to be felt. So whatever it is though, we want to break the pattern of what we're doing, okay? That's where you do your deeper work. So that's where it's really important throughout the day to have a meditation practice, to journal, to do somatic tracking, because we want to have an outlet for the body, we want to have an outlet for the mind, and we want to have an outlet for the heart. Because in the moment, we may be breaking a body fixation problem, or we may be breaking an emotional trigger, or we may be breaking an environmental trigger, or we may be breaking a thought pattern. But there could be deeper messages and meanings to why those keep coming up. And that's why you can't just do brain retraining all day and expect to solve the problem, although many people do. But if you have these other outlets, like the somatic tracking for your body, the meditation for your mind, the emotional journaling for your emotions, you're going to see where these patterns are coming from, where they've evolved from, what the deeper meanings are, what the deeper messages are, and what problem you really need to solve in your life in order to, get to the root of it. But when you're in the moment, you're not doing that root work. You are doing the breaking the pattern of the moment. So it's stop, it's a becoming aware, it's stop. Okay, once you're in that moment and you've stopped it, now what? If it's one of those categories, if it's a body fixation sensation, then we have to break the pattern of this magnifying glass, this tunnel vision on the sensation. So we pull back in our mind. We become more aware. We look around the room. We get more as widely focused as we can rather than as tightly focused as we were. We pull back, right? We open up. We breathe deeper. We look around. We try to become engaged in something else. We distract ourselves with something else. We go about our business with the world. We really try to widen our awareness, our perspective. That's breaking that fixation pattern on a symptom, okay? Focusing on something else outside of you, focusing on another part of your body inside of you, whatever that is, okay? It could be a thought. So if the thought comes up, then we catch it, we stop, we rewire that thought to something more beneficial for us. So if the thought is, I'm never gonna heal, we say, that's not true. Many people with this have healed. I am healing. I'm on my way to healing. And the more I do this, the closer I'm gonna get to healing, right? I was sent here by the universe. My body is a self-healing machine. I can heal. I will heal. I wanna heal. These are the thoughts that we replace that negative thought with. So whatever the negative thought is, we think of the opposite and we think of a nice way to say the opposite that's believable, okay? That's like working our way into that. If it's a body sensation and we're just like, we can't take it, then we allow it. We soften to it. We just meet that sensation and just look at it. We allow it, or we stop focusing it on altogether and try to put our attention to other things. It's not that we're running. It's not that we're fighting it. We're saying, okay, we see you, you're there, but we're gonna go try something else. I'm aware that you're there. I feel you, I see you. But instead of like focusing down on you, I'm gonna allow you to be there and I'm gonna focus outside myself on something different, okay? If it's an emotion that keeps coming up, right, then we wanna break that emotion. If it's like a deep, dark sadness or a fear, then we wanna break that emotion with something else. We can do that with changing our body posture, changing what we're doing, what feels more comforting to us, right? If it's fear, how can we soothe ourselves? What can we do that makes us feel good and secure? Or so whatever it is, you have to think of yourself in that moment and you replace it. So you replace the negative pattern with a more positive pattern. You replace the negative sensation, emotion, or thought with a new emotion, sensation, or thought. however you can do that. It doesn't have to be huge. Sometimes you're going to be way more successful, sometimes you're not going to be, but any change breaks the pattern, and that's what you're after. So that's the next step in the process. After you're aware, then you stop, then you replace whatever's happening with something new and more beneficial, more healing, more aligned with what you want and where you want to go. The next step is usually congratulating yourself, saying, good job, like you are doing this, being kind, loving, anything to yourself, reminding yourself why you want to do this. Good job. I know this is hard, but we're doing this for a reason. We have an overactive nervous system. It's sending mixed messages to our brain. Everything's getting, cross-wired. Our brain isn't getting the right messages, and you're doing a really good job at trying this. Like, I know why we're doing this. I know why we want to do this, and I congratulate you for doing it, right? I love you. I'm with you. I believe in you. We can do this. I know it doesn't seem natural. It's hard. You're doing a great job. So that's the next step. It's just like really being kind to yourself, reminding yourself why you're doing it and what you're going towards. That's usually the next step. And then the last step is replacing, and then the last step is really trying to replace that feeling with a new feeling, because healing is all about feeling. When you're feeling the bad, when you're feeling, all the stuff that you're feeling, your body's just continuing to get more of that. But if you can replace it with a more positive visual creation of your future, of the future you want, or a memory from the past, if you can feel the feeling of joy, happiness, health, healing, if you can feel any of those good feelings and you can wire those feelings, the actual feeling of it, into your body, that's where you really make huge progress. And don't worry if you can't do this, because if you're overwhelmed with symptoms or feelings or emotions and you can't get the feeling, that's okay. The feeling will come eventually. When you have a break, when you ever feel a little bit better, that's when you really try to rewire those feelings. But it's all about the feeling when you're healing. So sometimes you try to imagine or create a beautiful scene in your future. You really put yourself in there, body, mind, soul, all the senses. You use all the senses to visualize, yourself on an amazing beach, having fun, laughing with your friends. Like it's a beautiful summer day. You can feel the heat. You can smell the flowers. So it's about this visualization of you in an amazing moment. If you cannot create the future, sometimes people will pull up a memory from their past that was amazing, that made them feel so good, and they can access the feeling of that memory. If you can do that with smells and emotions and laughter and who was there and the love and the feeling of it, that's great. Sometimes you're so sick you cannot access these feelings. So you might say to yourself, if I was somebody else and I imagined this other person happy, what would they be doing? What would they be feeling? How if I was somebody else, if I was this person over there, what would it feel like to be them on their happiest day? Or, a character from a book or a movie, if I was them, what would they be doing? How would they be feeling? What kinds of sights and sounds and things would they be doing? And just try to imagine, even if you can't feel it in yourself, imagine what it would feel like, right? If you can't access any good memory from the past or create a good space or healing place in the future, then you might try to become someone else. Or what would they do? Or look at a picture of laughing people and just imagine yourself being them for a minute. If you didn't have this, if you weren't yourself, how could you feel? Just imagine, what could an ideal day be if you were completely somebody else who'd never experienced chronic illness? And you just want to feel little bits of that. Okay, even if it doesn't change the emotion or the sensation or the thought or whatever, you want to feel some of that and hold on to that and really so a lot of the rewiring practice is trying to practice that feeling. That's also where visualization and meditation can come in handy, all of these things. So that is the basic rewiring your brain process. And the very, 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 very last step of it is you get back involved into life. So you do something else that's positive, that's how you want to be living, that makes you feel some bit of personal power and confidence and belief in yourself, and you do something. You get on with living or doing something in your day, even if that feeling has to come with you. Hopefully it won't. But so that's the process of it. Okay, so let's go through it really quickly. You recognize, you become aware, you're in a bad thought pattern, emotion, habit, sensation, whatever that you want to change. You stop. You replace it with something new, something more healing, something more beneficial. Okay, you congratulate yourself. You give yourself love, acceptance, total support, and honoring yourself for doing this. Then you try to conjure up a feeling. You really visualize in whatever way that you can to give yourself the feeling of something new, something peaceful, the life that you're going towards, the life that you want. And then you get back to your own life. You bring that feeling back to your own life and you start to live. That's the process. That's how we brain rewire. And you do this over and over and over. Now, for those of you who feel like, because I've been there before. I've been there. It's very, very hard to brain rewire when you think. So that means I can never feel a negative emotion. I have to rewire every thought. I have to rewire everything. No, we're trying to break generalized patterns. Yes, it'd be great if you could catch every single thing and rewire it. That would be great. But you're trying to break patterns. You're trying to break negative associations. You're trying to break this habitual pattern that your brain has gotten into of illness, right? So it takes shaking it up. It takes trying new things. But if you don't leave your space room to feel feelings, right, through journaling and feeling, crying, expressing in for half an hour a day, if you don't do some somatic tracking and allow yourself to sit with sensations and allow them to see what they feel like in your body and just relax with them, if you don't meditate and try to clear your mind and allow things to rise and come to the surface and float by and don't attach. So if we're not practicing other ways, outlets, sometimes people can brain retrain, but they're suppressing. They're suppressing the deeper reasons that you got sick, the emotions underneath it all. The problem that you've lost confidence in yourself, or a belief system that it really needs to change. You discover that through meditation. You discover that through trauma work. You discover that through journaling. You discover that for allowing that. But you can't allow it all day. So the majority of the time you want to be breaking these patterns and instilling new, better ones. The rest of the time you want to do some of this deep work. You want to set aside time each day so that you're not repressing emotions, sensations, feeling. You're not fighting or running away from or pretending that they're not there. You're actually facing them. You're looking at them. You're allowing them. You're seeing what they want, what the deeper meanings are. What's bothering you? What needs to be resolved? What do you need to feel? So this type of work is really important, and that's why I don't think brain retraining is an all or nothing. And some of these programs are like, you have to do it with every thought, and that's great because you do want to break these things. But if you suppress and sweep things under the rug, you might not get to the deeper issues, and then you might stay sick for longer. So I'd say 80% of the day, 75% of the day, we're going to try to break these patterns, try to rewire. Try to choose a better pattern. Try to create something new in your life. Go towards what you want. But for the rest of the time, do the work. Sit with yourself. Allow. Feel. Because that is also healing. Feeling is feeling those feelings. And healing is also creating the new feelings and the new patterns. So it's all of it. So you have to feel to heal. You have to feel the good emotions, but you have to be willing to feel the bad emotions too. So that is the brain rewiring process in many of these different programs. Like I said, I've done many of them, and that's really how simple it can be. Okay, it doesn't have to be consistent. We just want to break the majority of these things and replace it. Like, I can do this, with the thought, I can't walk, I can't get out of my bed. I can walk, I can get out of my bed. And watch me. I can maybe go 5 steps today. Whatever it is, congratulate yourself. Rewire that pattern. Don't allow your brain to think things that aren't true, or to feel things and blow things up and magnify them and make them worse. And catastrophize and worry all day long. That's not what we're doing. We do want to feel these things, but then they have their own compartments, right? I will allow you worries to come to the surface. I will allow you fear to come to the surface. I will allow you sensations to come to the surface, but we're not going to do this all day. I'm going to choose better things for myself. I'm going to rewire. I'm going to retrain you to go in a new direction. But I'm also going to let you talk when you need to, and I'm going to be there to feel you no matter how uncomfortable it is. So I hope this video has been helpful. I hope you understand what brain retraining is, and we might do one more video on this, but for now, this is the process. Practice it, and then I do have something to say, overall brain retraining that will bring it all together, and that will be in the last video. So for now, I hope this has been helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.